your mind.
The Ace Combat series has been mixing dogfights and drama with just enough realism to very loosely qualify it as some type of flight sim. While the franchise has existed since the early 90s, the series has flown too low to register on most players' radars. Ace Combat Assault Horizon may just change that. With obvious investment in visual prowess, expanded gameplay variety, and a story set in the recognizable real world, the latest Ace Combat is aiming noticeably higher than it has in the past. Is it able to keep a lock on success?
I saw my death in my dreams, many times. A nightmare that I'll never forget.
In attaching Jim DeFelice, the best-selling author of military thrillers, and shifting away from the series' goofy sci-fi world, Assault Horizon manages to tell a vaguely believable story that creates personal drama using defined, if not very nuanced, personalities. Main character Lieutenant Colonel William Bishop is duty-driven and cares about his men. The antagonistic Andrei Markov stages a threatening, if unoriginal, military coup in Russia to menace the world with a new type of superweapon. The supporting cast boasts textbook diversity and friendly camaraderie, helping to keep things from getting too dry. The earnest effort put into the dramatic staging is in no way exceptional, but provides enough context to pay off.
I've never seen an explosion like that. The helo just flipped over.
Not so good. Not so very good.
Making your way through the military campaign in Assault Horizon involves completing mission after mission in a set order. There's a sense of advancement and choice provided by a steadily increasing selection of aircraft, each with their own performance parameters and special weapon options. This adds a welcome element of choice to the standard modus operandi of typical missions, which have you taking out whatever combination of air and ground targets need eliminating. While this default mode of jet combat makes up the largest portion of the game, you'll sometimes be called upon to pilot an attack helicopter in sequences that are more about carefully navigating space than fast-moving acrobatics. Further variety is achieved through missions that place you in a helicopter gunner seat, where simple aim and shoot controls, incredible body counts, precision shooting, and a healthy sense of overkill will give you light gun game flashbacks. With someone else taking care of the driving, it's a nice break from the hectic action. The gunship missions played through a night vision lens aren't as involving and can require some trial and error, but they fulfill their function by adding just a bit more variety.
Trucks are toast.
Assault Horizon also includes several multiplayer modes that use the same systems employed in the solo game to provide exciting dogfights and the opportunity for some coordinated team play. Outside the straightforward but enjoyable death matches, players will have to destroy ground objectives to capture points and launch a decisive attack in capital conquest mode, or control space in the capture and hold domination mode. These more involved game types don't easily lend themselves to casual play, but allow for interesting cooperative strategies for those who take their air combat seriously. In addition to competitive modes, single-player missions can also be replayed as difficulty-adjusted co-op runs.
We could use help, Warwolf.
Warwolf 1, roger.
Bandits coming north at very low altitude. Heading is 025.
Ace Combat is still primarily about downing planes and eliminating ground targets while hurtling through the air in state-of-the-art aircraft, and Assault Horizon further emphasizes over-the-top action that's unrestrained by too much realism. Planes carry dozens of missiles, sometimes launching several at a time, and they can sustain numerous direct hits. But in addition to spamming long-distance attacks, you're now able to lock in your view to track an individual enemy and focus on targeting. Gaining this predatory advantage is hugely enjoyable, and bringing an enemy down this way leads to a cutaway depicting a kill in gory mechanical detail. Your enemies, particularly aces or other human players, can put you in the same situation, and escapes or risky reversals are always possible.
Bandit destroyed.
A similar system lets you engage ground targets by locking you into a path to a concentrated attack run, letting you efficiently take out important objectives and substantially livening up the ground combat. The focused viewpoint brings the game toward arcade-style simplicity, but considering its general tone and feel, it's a step in the right direction.
My six.
Outside the close-range assaults, the default control option makes you a bit less likely to lose your orientation and slam into the ground, with the second option allowing for slightly more realistic controls within the boundaries of the game. While there's no real issue with the controls, the wide open sky does tend to make many missions feel very similar to one another. The sameness is often mitigated with fresh mission objectives, but stages can occasionally feel like simple arenas besieged by wave after wave of unvaried opposition, with the game's intensity decreasing with repetition. Helicopter controls are a bit complex no matter what the configuration, and although the way your guns lock onto targets seemingly out of necessity can make targeting feel a bit too automatic, they're still fun to fly, even if it's clear they play second fiddle to the jets. Surprisingly, for a game that puts such a premium on action, more mundane activities do pop up from time to time. You'll take off and land once or twice, although there's usually a dramatic complication of some sort to make it interesting. You're also curiously able to direct your first-person view as you embody Bishop in certain scenes, although it's only your eyes that are free to wander in what are essentially on-rail story segments. It's a way for the game to show off its tech and its characters, but while it adds a bit of immersion, it's also a little bit boring. Ace Combat Assault Horizon succeeds in assembling a great audiovisual package. Fans of military hardware and slick design will certainly appreciate the visual fidelity of the aircraft, which also look great when they're being gratuitously blown apart in the kill cam. And where many games concerned with aerial combat neglect detail on the ground, Ace Combat's real-world locations actually look fairly real, often bringing the action thrillingly close to ground level, with convincing visuals that make weaving through skyscrapers during dogfights feel intense and memorable. The men and women don't look as spectacular as the machines, but there's at least a bit of life in them, largely thanks to competent voice work and a script that at least aspires toward naturalistic dialogue.
Oh, maybe you should try flying the thing. You're used to chasing your tail.
The presentation of the game's more practical elements is slick, and the soundtrack does its best to sell Ace Combat's intentions of amped-up aerial drama.
Saddle up, Werewolves. We're heading back.
Ace Combat may never fully overcome its identity crisis, but its latest sortie is a successful one. Assault Horizon creates some spectacular moments with its visually impressive close-range battles that make up for some of its slower, more repetitive lulls, and incorporates several different types of gameplay without compromising its overall quality or theme. Both the campaign and multiplayer feel well developed, creating a well-rounded package with a lot of value. It may not be everything to everybody, but Ace Combat Assault Horizon works hard to impress, and ultimately proves its worth.